Hello, everybody. Welcome to our full moon in Leo, and happening pretty damn close to Valentine's Day. So hope you're having a nice Valentine's Day too. So it's a weird time, isn't it? It's really a heightened time for everybody, regardless of your politics or what sides you're choosing. Everyone I know is going through an intense time emotionally. So we're going to explore, what a Leo moon is all about, and this particular chart, because it happens once a year. So you might want to take a look and think, yeah, how do I usually feel around the full moon in February? Because that's always a Leo moon, full moon. And think about the lion. It brings out the inner lion. The moon in Leo is somebody who has a very strong inner spirit. They will not be dominated by anyone. So even if you have a gentle Pisces or a super practical Virgo, or a very flexible, adaptable Gemini, if you see a moon in Leo, this person's pretty fixed underneath the surface. They're pretty strong. They have courage that you may not see all the time, but they can pull it out. They could do things that are bold. They could also have a sense of leadership that you didn't see at first. They might be good under pressure or in crisis. If, the other signs I mentioned are all mutable. So those would be sort of the opposite, right? The more adaptable, flexible, changing their mind, changing their plans. But a Leo moon, deep down, is sort of like a royal character underneath all of that. And sometimes it can be a monstrous ego that's hiding in the closet too. But a lot of Leo moons have a understated but very strong character. So maybe you're seeing that right now amongst friends, amongst people that you are surprised what side of them is coming out right now. Is it stronger? Is there more ego than you realized? Maybe it's yourself. So Leo moon at its worst is just wanting to grab the spotlight. Attention for attention's sake, needing flattery all the time. So, or grandstanding just to get attention. So we're definitely seeing some of that in the air as we're leading up to the moon, which is on the 16th. So paying attention to that in others, and in yourself. It's sort of full moons, when they're that intense, any month, whether it's Leo or not, have the potential to bring out hidden or repressed sides of yourself and others close to you. And so sometimes there's a bit of I didn't know this person was like that, or, oh, I didn't know I had that in me kind of moment. And that can be in a great way too, especially with Leo, that strong, fixed, firm, not going to budge me. Here I am world side can come out in really great ways too. So let's take a look at the chart. But first, I wanted to say that if you enjoy my videos, I'd really appreciate it if you click like, subscribe and follow, share. And also, if you want to go to the links below, you'll see how to reach me for a reading, and to reach my website where there's other classes, or you can buy my books, all kinds of stuff like that in the links below. And also, I just wanted to sort of give a heads up if my energy seems a little more mellow than my other videos. It's because all of this controversy I find has been very heavy and very tiring to navigate. When you've got friends and family on very polarized sides of ideologies, you know, of mandates and vaccines and protest movements, and you know, and trying my best to have my opinion but stay in the middle road and not alienate anybody for no reason, because you know, that's what's in the air. Everybody is just had it, the end of their patience, and they're ready to just block and delete and walk away in a huff. Sometimes, you know, we're going to see in this chart, there's that energy still there. Sometimes maybe you've needed to walk away for a long time, and this is the thing. Finally did it for you, where you say, yeah, I see, I've always been on the fence about this person, and now based on their values, I understand why. This is clear to me, like this wasn't working. But other times Leo moon will just bring out a really big dramatic fight, you know, and you regret it. And I personally don't want to alienate anybody or lose anybody that if we don't have to. But it's also very exhausting to navigate, as I'm sure everyone's feeling. The second reason I'm a little more mellow is that at the end of January, my cat passed, and he was 16, and you know, he spent every night of his life sleeping on my chest or beside my pillow. So it's a bit of a rough time for me because of that too. But we're good to go. So let's take a look at this chart for this full moon for you. Just going to share my screen. All right. Sorry, I had to just open it properly. There we go. And here we go, share the screen. I hope you enjoy seeing the charts, that it helps you. All right. Is this sharing? No. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Here we go. Sorry about that. I think my Facebook phone rang and that was it. We missed it. Okay. So let's take a look. So it's happening on the 16th of February, 11:56 a.m. The chart is cast for New York City, or so therefore the Eastern time zone. Now, that means that if you're in the Eastern time zone, the ascendant or rising sign for this full moon is a Gemini. It's Gemini. So Leo moon way down here, look at it all standing alone. Way down at the bottom of the chart. Right on the IC. You see down here, IC. Usually these lines, you know, we like to think they're perfect, like the horizon line is here with the rising sign and the descendant. Usually the MC or career angle and the IC or like the home and the domestic angle are pretty perpendicular, but as you see, these houses are quite small this time, and these ones are quite large, and that emphasizes certain areas of life and not others. So our IC, or the home front, is way down here, over here. So the moon right on the IC is a sign, a full moon on that axis definitely shows you that some tangible change is in the air. You know, sometimes you feel the winds of change or the forces of change coming, and things build up, and you know something's coming, but it doesn't mean it's happening yet. But when you see things on the IC or MC, the ascendant or descendant or all of the above It tends to be a time when an external event or a decision is made and the dominoes start to roll and many things change around you all at once. So with our moon and Leo down at the bottom in the home front, it feels lonely, doesn't it? So it's strong, but it's alone. I wonder how many of us have been feeling like that, especially during these last couple of years. It knows what it wants. There could be changes to your home front, literally yourself. Now, the moon in the fourth house doesn't always mean, it's not saying renovations or something. It could mean improving or upgrading, because Leo moons like luxury and they like a bit of drama and flair. You might find that you're busy inside your home. If it were another time and it wasn't pandemic time, I would say a Leo moon in the fourth house would entertain people at home. They would host dinner parties, you know, or little, I don't know, bring people over and play music or share something or do creative work, but it would be done in the house. And they would probably set the stage. Maybe they decorate it or light some candles, or they do something atmospheric or thematic for it, because it's playful for them. The Leo moon is creative and playful when it's in the house. So you might see a little bit of that for yourself right now, or maybe it would uplift you. Sometimes a Leo moon in the fourth house, I would say, would be a person really connected strongly to their ancestral roots, because the moon is usually past life related. It's your core emotional needs. It's the personality that shows up, you know, when you've been camping and you're uncomfortable and wet for 3 days, your Leo moon will show up. You know, no matter how nice the rest of your signs are, the Leo moon will show up and it does not want to be uncomfortable, and it can be bossy. It can say, we're not doing that. This is what's going to happen. So you could find also that there's someone in your household, or maybe it's you, stepping up or being more bossy or more dominant than usual. Hopefully not domineering. Sometimes the moon in Leo can be a domineering influence too. But it could also be just somebody super connected to their ancestral roots, or digging into traditions, preserving traditions from the past with the home. Meaning, what's that mean? Can be anything from setting the dining room table with your grandmother's china to researching ancestry DNA or something, finding cousins, or it can be spending more time talking to family members, getting them to tell their stories about great aunts and uncles, stuff like that, to connect those roots really strongly. So I find the moon in the fourth house here a positive influence, a strengthening influence. It's just that it's standing there all alone. That's what's sort of hard about it. Now, as always, the sun and the moon are opposite when it's a full moon, always. So the sun's in 27 Aquarius at the top of the chart. So what's taking center stage is Aquarian values, because the sun is shining at the top of the chart and Saturn's nearby. So it's emphasizing the Aquarian vibe, which is about the collective, not the individual. It's about different tribes and different, you do you and I'll do me, and we'll coexist as long as we don't hurt each other. It's supposed to be brotherhood of man, but sometimes it can also be quite ideological and stubborn and rebellious. But it does certainly believe in diversity and the collective good. Whereas a Leo moon can be thinking about me and my needs and myself. So I've seen a lot of that, that kind of sharing on social media around the protest movements. You know, who's the one who's fighting for peace and the collective good, and who's thinking of themselves, and that you can talk to both sides and they'll both say both. So I'm not going to weigh in on that. But these themes are coming up of like, what is truly for the collective good versus what is selfish. Lots of examining of that right now. But then the interesting thing that makes this chart more intense is take a look at this perfect square. This is rare. Fixed squares. They are areas where there's a very strong consolidated force in the chart. There's an unbudging character to this full moon. It doesn't surprise me that there's standoffs and protests happening, whether that's, Russia and Ukraine, we're just waiting. And, the convoy movements all over the world, really. It doesn't surprise me we're seeing these kind of standoffs under this full moon influence, because the fixed square is really about these polar opposites digging in their heels, and they're not going anywhere, either side. There's no yielding or relenting on either side, really. What makes it interesting too is look at the planets, look at what it's making these squares with. It's making it with the nodes, the karmic directions. Quite interesting, right? Based on how these resolve could shift, whether we're going in the North Node direction towards our true karma, or whether we're repeating the past life karma here. So what does that look like? Okay. And then we'll see what planets support what. If we look at Scorpio South Node, or past life direction, or what we need to move away from, Scorpio South Node would be somebody who has gone through endless transformations, constantly having to start over, shed their skin, and in so doing, they go deeper and deeper and deeper into the psychology of things, perhaps too much, so that they can never quite get to the bottom of things. They're never quite satisfied. There's always one more thing, one more truth, one more. And that fits well in a sense with the conspiracy mindset of like, there's got to be something wrong. There's got to be something else. There's got to be something else hidden. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but that's the past life direction emphasized there. So people in real life that I've met, with these nodes, they need to learn to go towards Taurus. And Taurus is about wanting security and stability. They want things to be calm. They want to have their home and their job and their finances secure. They choose their friends selectively, and then they take care of them, and they have a smaller circle. A Scorpio South Node would be like open to anything and anyone, and almost anything and anyone will show up. And they're sometimes overwhelmed with how much depth of and just different mind states of people, and just it's fascinating, but it's also exhausting. So the Scorpio South Node is supposed to learn to get off this treadmill of constant upheaval and constant like probing the depths, and start to be more, it doesn't mean shallow. It means choosing to be stable, choosing to be loyal to something, and choosing to relax. You know, it's bringing in the field of your emotional push and pull, and bringing your energy, sort of consolidating it into a more healthy and I'm gonna say controlled, but sort of into a space where it's more manageable, so that you can take good care of it and you also feel secure. So the sun and the moon are clashing with these nodal directions. You know, you've got opposing factions, and then you've got where the world is sort of pulling us. Are we going towards upheaval over and over and over again, even if we don't need to, or are we actually going towards Taurus with this stability? Now look over here, right beside it, we have Uranus at 11 degrees. This is 26. At some point, I haven't checked my books, but at some point these two are going to converge. And when Uranus hits the North Node, we'll definitely see something of a catalytic moment that could help us reestablish, you know, what these Taurus values are about. That could be anything. I mean, I don't even want to predict, but when it's in Taurus, it usually hits something to do with your finances or with our banking system, or well, yeah, it can be agricultural. It could be food supply. I'm hoping we don't have to all live through a huge thing with that. But there's a catalytic moment because Uranus brings something really erratic or sudden, but it's hitting this north, it'll eventually hit this North Node as well. So it's almost like a sudden event that brings us onto the path where we have to establish more stability in a new way. And it's going to look different than what we used to have. And that doesn't mean it's bad, but it might just, it's going to feel new. So you might really be feeling all of this right now, you know. Are you looking consciously to create a more peaceful life for yourself right now? Are you able to start making decisions that are more practical for your long-term future? Or can you spot yourself being in constant upheaval and diving into the depths and the next thing and the next person's issues and the next, you know, are you able to see that going on, and are you ready to release some of it and go towards something more peaceful and stable? So let's take a look at what other planets either support or don't support this. So what we've got is these blue lines where things work well, right? Pardon me. So the thing that's the most supportive is that we have Pluto, 27 Capricorn, and we've got Mercury at 1 degree Aquarius. So they're conjunct, they're 4 degrees away. Mercury and Pluto also is another reason why we're seeing standoff energy. Pluto is very, very forceful, very strong, very magnetic, not afraid of anything. And Mercury is our communications planet and our thinking. So this means, this is why we're seeing government right now respond with a very authoritarian, heavy-handed, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing. You know, it feels very, to a lot of people, it feels very like, you know, like some sort of tyrannical dad kind of figure. To other people, they find that makes them feel secure. They want their government or their tyrannical dad to be able to say, hey, stop it, and people listen. So it really depends on what side of the fence you're on, how you experience the Mercury Pluto, but definitely there's strong language, strong thinking, people that are stubborn and are not going to back down right now. The authoritarian side of it is still strong. However, Those two planets are supporting these nodes. Now, the short blue line means it's a sextile, that means 60 degrees. You're compatible, but you got to work on it together. But the better aspect is the trine over here. It's trining 120 degrees, the north node, which means the most supportive thing in this chart. Some of you aren't going to like what I'm going to say, but the supportive energy of this chart is strong authority, restoring stability. That's what the chart says, not me. All right. The next supportive thing that we have is we've got some stuff going on with Mars and Venus also in Capricorn, both 16 degrees. So right on top of each other. A lot of Capricorn vibe right now. So Venus and Mars in Capricorn are both extremely ambitious and hardworking. They won't let their emotions show. They're going to try to keep them under control. They're going to have strong desires, but they're not going to explode with them or have a big show of emotion. It's consolidated, and therefore, again, it's very powerful. Now, it's not making an aspect to the moon, but it still interestingly plays off on it because you've got this very strong Leo moon at the bottom that won't be dominated either, but it's a different vibe than all that Capricorn. Capricorn planets very much want to direct things and direct people and get everybody in line for their master plan sometimes, or for their long-term goals, and they're thinking long-term, and they're working very hard so that their long-term thing lines up. Whereas a Leo moon, it's fire, it's a fire sign. So they're, even if they have a dominant side, it's more sort of in the moment. It's not to domineer everyone for life. So you can just see with a Leo moon that there'll be reactions to anything too authoritarian. People are going to go, you're not telling me what to do. So Venus and Mars in Capricorn, it's good that there's a lot of self-control in those planets during these protests, because if we had seen more fire or more wild card type of cards, type of planets, for example, had Mars been in Aries or something else, we would have seen more riots, more threats, or some violence. And so far, knock wood, we're not. So thank you to the rationality of the Earth planets that are going on right now, and to the Sun and Saturn and Aquarius that have the values of the collective for the most part. It's calming it down. It's a very weird vibe, isn't it, in the air? That's why it's like it's weird to have a standoff that's trying to come across as not as serious as it actually is. And at the same time, the forces that are at play are quite powerful, even if they're not erupting. It's a very weird feeling. The other thing that's supporting Venus and Mars in Capricorn is just another little sextile, but Neptune in Pisces is helping that out. And yeah, and then we've got Jupiter helping out Uranus a little bit. So, I mean, those are two semi-supportive aspects. Neptune in Pisces connecting to Venus and Mars in Capricorn is probably just brings some idealism into the play. We're doing this for you. Are you really? And that could be the convoy people saying that. That could be the government saying that. It's just, it brings this idealistic we're all one, la, 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 kind of thing to the movements, whatever side you're on, because we've got Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces, which, both want to bring a very kumbaya kind of creative, we're all together in this. And yeah, a lot of idealizing and not really scrutinizing and looking at the nitty gritty, just wanting to see a bit, more of a big, beautiful picture of togetherness. And that's definitely projected very strongly right now too. And that's a nice thing. Like, thank goodness there's that, because then again, this could have played out a lot nastier, and it's not, which is quite amazing. So your idealism might be carrying you through right now. Other than that, a Gemini rising, as we said, for the Eastern time zone, would just mean, people that might be very changeable, flip-floppy. They say they believe one opinion when they're with you, and then they talk to someone else and maybe they're agreeing with them because they're trying to gather info. They're trying to be amenable or compliant without taking a stand. And a lot of talking with the Gemini rising. So we're going to see a lot of media and a lot of talking about for probably quite a while during this full moon phase. So let's take a look at our cards now, shall we? All right. Let's see if it gives us any extra insights to what's coming up for us. Oops, I just flip-flopped my deck some weird way. There. I'm just going to burn some sage for us all. Let's just try to say a prayer of peace for everybody, including everybody in your prayers, that everybody finds a sense of peace and stability. As we slowly reopen the world, which is coming in March. All right, just cleansing the cards a bit. So what is our full moon going to bring us? Any other aspects or details? So the first card here is, well, that's encouraging. 8 of Wands is swiftness, Mercury in Sagittarius. This is a card of freedom and traveling. This, there'll be lots of people on the move and lots of people crossing borders again, and lots of people probably, if you're not actually traveling, you'll be thinking of doing it soon. This to me is definitely a card of freedom and letting go of restrictions. And we're talking politics, but think about it for yourself. Think about how does this play out in your own life, regardless of whether it's a mandate telling you or not. How are you letting yourself feel more free? How are you being more bold and speaking your truth more? Because Mercury in Sag just spits it out, says what they think, says what they think is true. And they might not have the most tact, but they're not lying. They just call it as they see it. And as you do that, things tend to move along more quickly. And you've got more energy because you're not suppressing and humming and hawing all the time, trying to please everybody. So that's one way you can use it on a personal level. 2 8s, interesting. Then we've got the 8 of Swords, which is interference. This means analysis paralysis. I've probably said that before. You see there's 2 main swords, and then there's all these other knives and daggers crisscrossing it. So even if these two swords would like to be strong and clear, everything's cutting in at it, and they're angled and hooked. And so, and just even the colors of the card sort of look painful, don't they? But because this is a Gemini card, Jupiter in Gemini, it means you're thinking about way too much, way too many options, way too much stuff, way too many people. We need to cut through that and stop analyzing things so much or adding one more option to your options, you know? Yeah, I'm guilty of this. I'm totally guilty of this right now too, so. All right, that's very nice. Then we have the King of Cups. So this is somebody kind that comes into the picture. Maybe you already have them, or maybe, you know, somebody that you already know steps up with some comforting words, thoughtful gesture, good listener, somebody with a good heart who's, well, I'm going to say, because of the analysis paralysis card, maybe it could be a therapist or a counselor. If not, then it could be, you know, maybe it's your dad, maybe it's a brother, maybe it's your spouse, somebody who's just got a big heart and that you can listen to help cut through all the head noise with a compassionate person. That's beautiful. Ah, look at that. You'll be back to trusting yourself, trusting your gut in no time after that. You just need somebody to help you sort of work through a couple of big decisions. And then you're going to feel like, I see now, I know what I've got to do. And you'll be back in your flow. So if any of you are feeling torn over a decision or multiple decisions, I'd suggest you reach out and talk to somebody and get some help versus muddling in your own mind, because that card is just, that card represents the point when you're just so full you can't think straight anymore. So you need some outside help. It can be a hotline you call once, you know, and then suddenly you're clear. You've got clear head. Could be somebody you see a YouTube video, for all we know, something you pick up off the shelf and read. But there's outside intervention to help you get your clarity. And then you're going to get your groove, your flow back on. Oh, that. Then we've got the Queen of Cups. So we have the King and the Queen. So, you know, that could be nice for partnership, for love, for closer friendships, closer sibling relationships. You know, it's not really saying because it's cups and pardon me, it's usually emotions. It doesn't always mean, oh, falling in love. It could, but it could also just, it's basically showing intimacy. So you've got the King and the Queen. It's really lovely. There's more intimacy coming around the future. It's nice to see that on a Valentine's Day reading. I didn't do this on purpose. Open yourself up to somebody for a bit of advice, and I think it could bring you a lot closer. It's very lovely. Then we've got our good old change card. Everyone hates to get this card. There's no answer to it. There's just things are up, things are down, things are changing again. Here we go around again, round cycle. Things are light, things are dark. They'll always be that way. If things are light right now, you can't get too confident because there are also dark times. If things are dark right now, you can't believe that this is forever because there's always light. And this is what we have to make peace with in life, that things always change. And we've got our good old Prince of Swords. So we've talked about him before. We don't like him too much. He likes to complicate things. He likes to confuse things. He's very clever. This guy could be good at spinning or gaslighting or scamming. He could be, you know, using it in a bad way towards others, his clever scheming mind, or he could be somebody who just can't get his own together. Because his mind is in pieces and because he's trying to solve everything on an intellectual plane instead of with the heart, which leads to more schemes and more, you know, maybe lying or white lying or telling one story to one person. And so if this rings a bell with someone around you, I would honestly say, if you can, try to detach from this person. Yeah, if it's someone you're close to and you're able to help them, that'd be great. But if it isn't, then just really be cautious about who this person is and how much energy you spend with them. Well, this is nice. Then you've got the Ace of Swords after, so there's a lot of mental clarity coming. Perhaps with the Prince and the Ace together, maybe you're about to see through somebody clearly and have your moment of, oh, this is who that person is. This is how we need to proceed based on who this person is, based on this behavior, based on what they said, something like that. Again, it's all mental cards, but your mental clarity is coming back, which is lovely since we saw the analysis paralysis. This is great. Like layer by layer, we're getting clear. And our last card here is disappointment. Well, I hate to leave it at that, but it is a part of life that when you see through things and you make decisions and you have to let go, even if it's for the best, you might still be disappointed that something wasn't what you thought, didn't work the way you wanted, whatever. So we have to process our emotional disappointments about the things that, based on that overanalyzing card, the dream that you have to maybe let go of for now. That could be one way it happens. It's not always people. Sometimes when you've got the 8 of Swords where you have like 50 things on your mind and you have to step back and go, what am I thinking? I can't get this all done. And then you feel really depressed sometimes if you're, overachiever or a daydreamer or whatever, because you thought you could get it all done. And now you're disappointed that you have to accept that you've got some limits and you can't. Or maybe you have to postpone something that you wish you didn't have to, but you do. But it's all for the best, because I'm going to pull one more card. Yeah. Because this is what it's going to take for you to get more solid and strong and stable. Big, clear message to me this full moon, that there is either a project, a plan, or a person you must detach from for now in order to restore some balance. Remember, Taurus North Node. How can you be living a more peaceful life? What do you need to do to go towards a more peaceful life? And I think we're going to make that our question for the signs. Even though it's Valentine's, and yes, I should do a love reading. No, I'm choosing to go with the deeper theme of how do we create, how can your sign achieve a more peaceful, stable life right now? Isn't that a nicer question? I think so. Okay. Just gonna get some water and then we'll start. All right. So Aries, how do you create more stability and peace? And you've got the Lust card or the Strength card. This is interesting because we don't often think about passion and lust as being stable. I would say, and it's also, there's also a lion on this card, if you see. She's riding a lion. I would say there's something that you probably have to take a look at with what you're passionate about, and then you have to take a stand on something. And that will give you more stability and peace. If you're holding back what you feel the most passionate about, if you're suppressing it, it doesn't do you justice, because then you're always in a wishy-washy position with people. You know, you'll be surrounded by people that you might not really be in alignment with, and you know, they could have illusions about you, you could have illusions about them, and then it's hard to get anything really moving or feel secure with your entourage. It could also mean that you've got to go after something that you've wanted to do for a long time in a much bigger way, because that's sort of, it's committing to that passion is going to give you more stability. That's quite the message, man. All right. Taurus, how do you create more peace and stability? And you've got the worry card. Okay. That's a pretty clear message, Taurus. You have to start taking a look at how much you worry. The only way you're going to feel more of the security that you want is to start overcoming the worrying tendency. So how do we do that? So I think everybody's got that, especially right now. We can do that by having routines that we respect in our life, sleeping, eating routines, exercise routines. You can do it by making sure that you're not having too much junk or addictive stuff in your life. Calm those things down. You can do it by meditating to learn how to be more in the present moment instead of worrying always in the future. You can write things down so that mentally you're not carrying things up here over and over and over again. They're on paper, you take a look at it, you express it, then you can step back and make decisions. Because worrying is like a, you know, anxiety and worry is when we're feeling locked into like a fear of the future, which is easy to do. But we have to somehow learn how to live now and not for the future every moment. And we also have to learn how to feel good about some decisions we're making right now instead of worrying way ahead in the future about stuff you might not be able to control. So it's no easy task, that one, but this is your biggest thing, I'd say, to work on. All right, Geminis, how do you create more peace and stability in your life? Interesting. This is the luxury card. This is the Moon in Cancer card. Well, Gemini won't like this maybe, but you need to pay more attention to your emotions. Moon in Cancer needs to be with people they feel safe and secure and vulnerable with. They need some mothering, you know, some nurturing type of care. And you can give that to yourself to a degree, but because it's a number 4, It feels more like you need it from your family, whether that's your own family or your extended family or a family of friends, but it feels like you need to have like a good campfire or commune with a group of people, and there's no big intellectual debates. It's just chilling, enjoying the scenery, the fire, the food, the song, you know, opening up to somebody, letting them know how you actually feel deep down, trusting them, being emotionally vulnerable. Yikes, right, Gemini? But the more you can open your heart and communicate on a heart level, you're going to feel more secure and stable, because if we don't relate on an emotional level to people, we don't really know them. We might align with their ideas, but we don't know how they feel. Things can just switch on a dime. If you connect on the heart level with your friends or your family, and it's working well on that level, you will feel more secure because those bonds are built on something more solid. Boy, I'm deep today, man. All right, that's what I feel like anyway. Cancers. What do you need to do for more peace and stability, Cancer? All right. Good old 7 of Wands. Do you see the center wand, how it looks like a person almost whose back is breaking? Because of all these stronger wands around it. Mars and Leo trying to dominate it. This center wand isn't strong enough to put up a fight with the other 6. So Cancers, you might be putting yourself in a position right now where you've been allowing, oh, excuse me. Another one. You might have been tolerating more dominant people around you, dominant or demanding, than you can actually handle. And it doesn't mean you're weak, you know, but if you look at this card, this one wand is outnumbered. So you can certainly have some people like this in your life, because you're not going to walk away from family relationships if it's like that. But you have to really take a look at how much are you exposing yourself to, you know, just really dominating energies or demanding energies in your life. And it can be people, could be again, projects or things that you've got going on, but it would be something where everybody's tugging at you for something. There's a harshness about this card, you know, and Cancers don't do well with that. We don't need to be, you know, in our little cocoons all the time, because Cancer is strong. But there is a threshold, though, to how much sort of fight or harshness you can have around you, or friction you can have around you before it really does rattle your nerves. So this is often a card of standing your ground, standing up to somebody, setting a boundary. And you could even be doing that with yourself, could be the way you talk to yourself that's not very nice, overly critical or harsh. You know, you might need more compassion with yourself and tell that inner voice that's criticizing you to shut up. Or it might be an actual person who's criticizing or resisting you or dismissing you, and you've got to step away. And again, if it's in the realm of work or projects, this could be setting a limit on the time you spend, readjusting the deadlines that you had in mind. Whatever feels overwhelming and dominating to you, you've got to step back, take a stand from it to feel more peace and security. All right, Leos. Virtue. Sun in Aries. Well, Leo, for you to feel better, you need to put yourself first in the higher sense. Only you know if you're having, you know, an ego moment or a tantrum moment, or whether you know in your bones that you must stand up for yourself, even if you're alone, and put yourself first. You have to know that distinction, which one you're doing, you know? Usually the virtue card is going to feel that you're doing the right thing or the noble thing or the gracious thing. So if you're putting yourself first in a way that you get this inner sense of your dignity is being restored, then it's the right thing. Then it's virtuous. Then you're going to execute it or speak to people in a way that comes across with more grace. Versus if you're putting yourself first and you're defensive or reactionary, you're going to be more angry or impatient, or it doesn't come off well with others. They don't respond to it well. So what you're looking for here is, you know, how do you put yourself first in a way that restores your sense of dignity? And then you will feel more peace. Ah, wow, that's a beautiful one. All right, Virgos, where are you? What do you need, Virgo? Okay, well, you're getting the analysis paralysis card. So, and which is, it's a Gemini card, but it can make sense for Virgo too, that you would analyze things and add too many things to your plate and be too critical and too perfectionistic at times about everything. So what you need to do to create more peace is what we said in the general reading. You need to ask for help, bounce your ideas off somebody, or read or watch videos on a subject and make some decisions and let go of some things on your plate. Working on how self-critical you are. It's going to give you more peace. You need more mental peace is basically the message of this. You need more inner mental peace. So at what point can you say, you know what, I have analyzed this inside out and backwards. There's nothing more to analyze. There's no more little corner of research I could do. I've done it. So I got to get off the wheel, breaking my head over this thing or this person or this, and just decide, bounce it off someone, make a decision and call it a day. Make a decision and move forward on your decision so that you can get off this very intense mental stress wheel. And that would give you a lot of peace. So I would say, yeah, paring down your activities and making decisions. Libras, how do you get more peace? Hierophant. Well, this card is already about somebody who's gone within to find enlightenment. Although he doesn't look like he's too peaceful, does he? Because he's surrounded by animals and sort of almost looks like daggers at the top or demons. This is someone who's trying to find their enlightenment within their inner demons. This is a sage, you know, a pope in other cards. This is a spiritual person who's done their learning and their research. This is a, and when I say do your research, I'm not talking about conspiracy stuff. That's not an allusion to that. This is for you to feel good and more at peace, though, you probably do need to do and conduct your own research on whatever you're not at peace with. But it needs to be from multiple perspectives, not just one. And it needs to include an awareness of your own inner fears and biases and inner demons. If you're going to arrive at a clear stance, I think this is interesting because this is sort of what I'm describing is sort of like Libra's life lesson, karmic lesson. It's not just right now at this full moon, but with how polarized everybody has been recently, it's probably really driving you mad, I would imagine, more than usual. So instead of, you know, eating way too much food and burying yourself in movies and series and stuff or whatever you're doing, try to pick up something and research or listen to multiple perspectives, multiple news outlets, whatever you want to do. If it's related to something with your work and you're breaking your head over it and it's nothing to do with the news, then you can, again, consult multiple sources. Look in various cities or different schools or different multiple experts, and then take a look at, again, your own stance and bias on things. Knowing a bit who you are and merging it with what you have found, then you're going to find that you have that wise view that you're seeking, you know? And it doesn't mean that there won't always be someone who disagrees with you. Like no position, no matter how much experience people have, there'll always be someone who says, oh no, I disagree, you know? They could go to the Dalai Lama and say, no, I think you're wrong. All right, well, if anyone's done inner work, then if this guy hasn't, I don't know who has. And there'll still be someone contradicting him. But he would be wise enough to know, just like the Hierophant, that's about them. It's not about him. It's sort of what we're looking to get to for you to find more peace and stability. At what point can you feel content with, you know, that you have thought about it enough from enough angles to be clearer? Oh boy, what a message that was. That's like a whole life lesson for Libra. All right, let's see for Scorpios. What do you need to do right now to find more peace and stability? You got the Three of Cups, abundance. You might be wanting to focus on your finances. You might want to focus on anything you can bring into your life that makes it feel more celebratory or abundant. And that can be anything, right? Sometimes I have one friend that she just makes sure she gets fresh flowers in her apartment once a week, and it just makes her feel like she's done something special for herself and it's a home. It can be really simple what makes you feel abundant. You know, some people, maybe it would be stopping and giving donations or charity to somebody makes you feel abundant. This card always feels like a party or a wedding or a, you know, something where you're gathering and sharing. It's a super creative card as well. So as we mentioned with the South Node in your sign, this sort of feeling of like an endless wheel that you're on of transformation, and it's like sort of wanting a break or a rest. The way you can go towards that Taurus North Node of peace and stability is through feeling a sense of people around you, sense of celebration, creativity, sense of beauty, sense of abundance. That would give you the most peace and help you start to disengage from what isn't peaceful to you anymore. All right, let's take a look now for Sagittarius. What do you need to feel more peaceful? Got the Chariot. I'm humming and hawing because Chariot is like, it's got this armor and it's all about obstacles and getting people to move, getting people to rally together. But that's not very peaceful. We know that's not very peaceful or stable. So I'm wondering whether you're on the other side of this card where you might need to let go of doing that. Are you at an impasse trying to motivate different people or factions to come over to your side or to do things the way you'd like, or to fulfill, you know, the vision or the dream that you have? Have you been maybe overdoing it? Is it time to step back, let someone else take the reins, or give it a rest for a little while? Because there's so much armor on this guy. Let's say, like, for you to feel more at peace or more stable would be to sort of relinquish some aspect of what's driving you, what mission like is pulsating you. Relax on this for some reason, I feel. On the timeline, on the when, on the how many, or the with who, or the it could be bringing out a side of you that you don't really like, and it could be counteractive to the way you want to be actually interacting with people, which is more usually free and laid back when you're happy. So I would say take a look at whether you can step back from something like this, from an energy like that in your life. You know, you don't always have to be leading at the helm. You can let other people do it for a little while. It doesn't say anything about your abilities. All right, let's go to Capricorn now. Capricorn, what do you need to feel more at peace? Wow, okay. All right, Capricorn, are you feeling mistreated and abused somehow? Eesh. The Nine of Swords, cruelty. Are you feeling like people are being two-faced with you? Could be from the past that you're revisiting old ones. Let's just say it is about the past for argument's sake. The way you'd find peace would be to either go back and speak to that person. And if you don't want to do that, then write a letter that you'll never send, kind of thing. You've got to find a way to forgive an old betrayal or mistreatment. And if you're currently feeling mistreated, sometimes the only way for you to find peace or stability would be to get out of there. So that might apply to some of you, hopefully not that many, but you might need to consider stepping back and leaving, whether that's a job or a relationship that's just not treating you right. And, you know, another way to create peace when you see this card too is, like, try your best not to participate in that energy if it's around you. So let's say it's a work situation, or even if it's a family situation, and you see people are sort of, you know, sniping at each other maybe, or giving passive aggressive messages to each other in front of others. Gossiping is very much with this card, talking behind people's backs, stuff like that. It all creates a toxic atmosphere. And even if you don't want to leave or walk away from where you can't, you can at least stop participating in that energy with others, if you are. And that can be in the smallest way that we participate. You might not be initiating the conversation or the gossip, but when you receive gossip, you can say, "Oh, it'd be interesting to hear the other side." Or say, "Oh, okay, I don't really want to weigh in on that, but I heard you. Thanks. Or something, you know, that's the only thing. So yeah, you have to determine whether this is old wounds or whether you're currently living it, but you do not deserve to be living this. Okay. It always is a sign that it's time to step way back, if it's mentally or if it's physically, literally getting out the door. Well, you know, you've got Pluto in your sign. I mean, anything can happen. Power tripping. All righty. Let's see. Aquarius. Happy birthday to you, by the way, Aquarius. What do you need to feel at peace? And you've got the Ace of Cups. Lucky you, the love cards. Well, for you to feel more stability and peace, you need to focus on love. Focus on loving yourself, loving others, loving your family, your pets, love for humanity. I don't care, love for your favorite music collection, but you focus on the love. Okay. It's really sounds cheesy as a message maybe, but it couldn't be clearer. This is just like a big open heart, big open-hearted love. Oh, focus on whatever brings you a sense of love. It's so ultra simple. It's hard to do sometimes. Maybe you get wrapped up in things, you get angry, you want to, you know, rebel or fight or whatever you might want to get into. But just notice if it's tearing you down or draining you, and focus back on what makes you feel the most loved. And hopefully, for those of you who are single, you feel very loved right now around your birthday, your Valentine's. And hang around and speak more to people that you feel this beautiful connection with, and minimize the rest. That's going to carry you through a lot of things, a lot of adversity in the world. And finally, Pisces. What is Pisces? What do you need to do for your stability? I can't remember if you had this one last time. I got to go back to the video. 6 of Cups, focus on pleasures. Focus on your sensuality, which doesn't just mean sexuality. Sensuality. You know, enjoying the texture of your sweater. Enjoying how warm your bed feels in the morning. Taking pleasure from the smell of the coffee brewing in your house, or the scented oils. Enjoying, you know, the rhythm of your day, the pathway that or the block that you always walk around. Drink these sensations in and enjoy them more, you know? It's those sensual pleasures. For some of you, this could be like a great sex life too. This is what you need. Maybe hopefully it'll deliver that to you. But if it doesn't deliver that, then certainly it can be, we all have control over enjoying our senses more. And so ironically, it would give you more peace to have more connection to your sensual side and to your gratitude for that sensual side. And with that, you would go forth and express your sensual side, right? That's why the card can mean sexuality. You know, if you're feeling wonderful and you smell good and you feel wonderful in your clothes, well, you're going to express your sensuality in a way that could lead to more pleasure, let's say. But, you know, if it's not that, then you can still enjoy getting dressed and smelling good. You know, you can still, when you feel wonderful about yourself and you feel good in your body, you might have a great dance or yoga class because you feel so good in your skin and you're expressing your sensuality into the world. That's a lovely, lovely message. I love that. All right, so as usual, if you guys enjoyed this video, I have a link below to Patreon. If you just want to support my work, that would be lovely. If you want a longer reading from me, same thing, the links are all below. And I'm pretty sure I have linked it to my intuition group as well on Facebook if you want to join that. And I really wish you all a lovely, a very nurturing and bold and decisive if need be, but otherwise a stable and calm full moon. Stay safe. All right, take care.